Hi, my name is Justin Montanez from Miss Blasi's English 3 Period 1B class. I'm here today to show you how I annotated the following story, The Story of an Hour by Chopin. Well, as you can see, I color-coded each of the characterizations, the irony, the symbols, motifs, and theme. And to start off today, I want to show you the direct characterization. So as you can see, the first sentence, knowing that Miss Mallard was afflicted with heart trouble, that basically shows directly how she was affected in the story with heart problems. Throughout the entire story, she had heart problems, and you'll see later on why this affects the entire story. Moving on, we have indirect characterization, and I used it right here with the repression, and basically it's indirectly saying how her husband was very repressive, like around her and trapping her when he was alive, and how he basically like kept her at home while he was working, to basically repress, keeping them like without speaking, doing what he tells her to do, and that's basically it for indirect characterization. Moving on, we have a situational irony, and as you see in the bottom, it's underlined in orange for orange situational. And in this, basically it's saying how she knew she would be weeping over and over again, but in turn she basically was happy with her husband's death in a way, because it basically kept her from being repressed, and basically kept her from kept her from being locked up. Now she's free, basically. And moving on to dramatic irony. On the back, it shows dramatic irony right here, and it says when the doctor said they said she had died of a heart disease. Basically, that's dramatic because we already knew she had a heart disease, and somehow we knew that she would probably have in turn her heart disease affect later on in the story. And basically what happens is she finds out that her husband is actually alive somehow, and in turn it makes her have a heart attack basically, and she dies instead of her husband being the one dead. And next, moving on to symbols. Most of the symbols I have are underlined. One is heart trouble, as you can see, heart trouble, death, open window, and I think one motif is she wept once with sudden wild dominant in her sister's arms. Basically, wept is another symbol. So as I can explain, death is one of the major symbols in this story. As you can see, basically her husband dies, and in turn she dies because, as it showed at the end, she dies from heart disease. It's another symbol, but she dies because her husband is actually not dead. And basically that's it. And heart trouble obviously mentioned throughout the entire story. And last but not least, we have themes, and one of the themes is basically the woman of the 1800s, because back then in the 1800s, women were always treated unfairly, and it shows how the goddess of victory, basically talking about woman, and how she basically got free from her husband. So basically, it wasn't a good time for women back then. And that's basically the theme of this, is that woman could not get past could not be the power over men back in this time period. But that's basically it for now, and this was a fun project, and I really appreciate annotating this story. It was a nice story. Basically, it was a pretty good story. How it all afflicted towards the end, her dying instead of her husband being dead. that's all I gotta say. Thank you very much. This is Justin Montez, and we're done.